Who's ready for every Spawn action figure made in the last few years? I know I am. Let's go. First up, we got OG Spawn. And today we're going to be comparing them with all the other Spawns, including a few others not photoed. First up, we got a most recent Spawn who was recently released, who is quite spooky. Here we have a pirate Spawn that I custom created, which I think is just awesome. I even used parts from old Mcfarlane Toys action figures to make this guy. Now, as you can see, he's about the same height as regular Spawn, which most of these figures will be roughly the same height. When we get near the end, you'll start to notice they get a little more taller. This is another custom. I call him Cloud Shaker. Alright, what's the next one? Here, this is a Spawn I like to call Sorcerer Spawn because he looks like he's a magician, and I gave him that wicked cool axe you see him carrying in his hands. Alright, who's next? This is another. I call him Cosmic Spawn. And look at that plasma coat and that plasma armor and everything green that just pops out. I love that figure. Next up, we have Haunt. How do I know he's Haunt? Because I wrote it on the bottom of his foot so I wouldn't forget. Don't believe me? I'll show you. Oh, there you go. Alright, this is a good figure. They made him kind of small and a little flimsy though. Alright, next up is another custom I created, which is a white and red Spawn. I even used a head from an old Mcfarlane Toys action figure, and I gave him the slicer hand from Carnage from Marvel Select. Next up, we're going to take a look at Radioactive Spawn. This is another custom I created, and as you can see, I used a DC Multiverse action figure. He's almost exactly the same height, but he also has that green plasma effect. Alright, here we have Ninja Spawn. One of the things I love about Ninja Spawn is he's so... how do I put it? He's correct. The way they made the ninja. I love the leather. I even did some customizing on him. I put some green on his sword. He's just an amazing figure. I love this next one as well. I love how they put the spider on his face. I didn't like the green for the handkerchief and the feet and the arms, so I painted him white. But still a really fun figure to have and great to any collection. Here's one of my favorites. This is Commando Spawn. You don't mess with Commando Spawn. Commando Spawn messes with you. And if you don't get out of his way, you're going to pay for it. So he's definitely top shelf for me, and I love that figure. Alright, next up is another custom I did. This was Raven Spawn, and I gave him a paint job because he looked like a brown turd, and that's just the truth. But you can see the feather effect on the cape, and you can see how I painted the armor silver. There they are side by side. As you can see, he's one of the ones that are a little taller, and I also love his green eyes. Next up is Gunslinger Spawn. Now, this Gunslinger Spawn is amazing because of the accessories. Look at that shotgun. It looks so authentic. And look at the pistols. They are amazing. And of course, he's a little taller than Spawn as well. Here we go. Who's next? Here we have the blue Mandarin Spawn. I have the blue one and the red one. I love the design of this figure and the details that we're putting him. And if you bought one, you know you got a ton of accessory weapons. So there he is next to regular Spawn. And now let's take a look at the larger deluxe Mandarin Spawn. I love that blade because it's like a helicopter. I love spinning that thing around, as you can see. Again, amazing detail. I've taken knees off to create masks for other figures and things like that. I don't like the red twilly thing on the head because it comes off easy. But next up, let's take a look at this Demon Spawn. I used him for a short earlier this week, and it turned out wonderfully. This guy just has a spook factor of 110, and definitely not something I'd want to have participate in my nightmares. Alright. Next up, we're going to take a look at an Angel of a Spawn. Robot of a Spawn. This is Manga Spawn. I had the old Manga Spawn, but this one takes it so much farther. The articulation on this figure, the weapons that were included, the cloth cape, the way that you can plug him into his back and into his arm, they just go above and beyond. The detail on the shoulder armor, the detail on the legs, the detail on the arms, he just goes for the gusto, and that's one of the things I love about Todd McFarlane, is when he's going for something, he just doesn't hold back, and I try to have that same mentality when I'm doing a custom action figure. Alright, now we're going to look at an Angel of a Spawn. I believe, yeah, Redeemer Spawn, here we go. I love the amazing sword he has. I love the articulation of the wings. I bought 4 of these because I wanted to use the wings and the armor and the head, just everything about it. Great fodder, great action figure. great to any collection. Alright, now we're gonna get a surprise. This is one of the enemies of Spawn, but I took his head off and I gave him a dragon head, because what doesn't a dragon head improve? Look at this thing. It's a cyborg dragon. It's something that nobody would want to mess with, so you better stay out of this dragon cyborg's head's way. Alright, now we got Cygor, the cyborg gorilla. Cyborg dragon, cyborg gorilla. It's like Todd McFarlane knows what he's doing. Look at that gorilla. He's crazy. You better watch out. Alright, let's pull those out of the way and take a look at Omega Spawn. This guy is crazy looking. He's so cool. I wish he was a little bigger, but that's okay. The detail put into this guy is just fabulous, and I love how they just put a splash of red in there with the brown and black to really make him pop. And the horns on the head. Oh my goodness, so intimidating. Alright, next up, we have the Big Mama Jamma. If you don't know this guy's name, you're not a Spawn fan, so in that spirit, I'm not gonna say it. The articulation on this figure is amazing, the size of this figure is amazing, and just everything about it. I'd buy 20 if I could. Now we're going to take a look at the Kickstarter Spawn. One of the wonderful things about this Kickstarter Spawn is you could buy him as one, or you could buy him in a set of 3. I bought him in a set of 3, I sold the other 2, and it covered the cost of the original one, the OG Spawn, that I wanted to keep. So let's take him out of the package and get a closer look at him. One of the things I love about him is his cape. That cape is so impending. That cape is standing on top of the Sears Tower, letting you know, I'm Spawn, and I mean business. I love the chains around the waist. I love the big old shoulder pads. I love how the neck collar goes 2 miles high. I love how they gave him a ton of hands. They gave him a huge weapon. And I'll show you some other accessories later. But let's go ahead and get him lined up with the Spawn that came out for everyone. Now you can see the major differences between these two figures. One, the Kickstarter Spawn is massive. And the other one is Kickstarter Spawn don't have the boot. And he also doesn't have that midsection articulation, which honestly is just heartbreaking, but we do what we must, right? We do what we must. So I trust Mcfarlane made the right call on that one. Now, standing side by side, you can see which one you'd obviously pick. Alright, now let's look at those accessories I was talking about. Alright, here's this massive sword that nobody could carry. I mean, this sword is so big, if you dropped it on your head, it'd kill you. Now, that little ball piece at the end comes off, so you can slide it into the hand easier. At the moment, I can't get it off. Alright, next we're going to take a look at the little dagger. This was kind of just a little surprise in the box, something to keep, I don't know, it's whatever. What I really like is his plasma effect. Before he came out with the other plasma effects, this thing was legit and everybody wanted one. Now we're going to take a look at the nail and plank and wood, whatever they call this thing. It's an evil weapon, something you wouldn't want someone to come at you with, that's for sure. Alright, next we're going to take a look at Spawn's original head. Now this head is intimidating. It tells me this guy is someone I don't want to mess with, and I better stay out of his way. I love the neck articulation. I love the head articulation. Mcfarlane really shows us how he likes to go above and beyond and do great work for his great fans. Alright, now we're going to take a look at the infected head. Now this head is scary. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, take care of yourself and keep collecting.